Hey guys, welcome to Witches of the Moon. This is week 13, and this week's topic is over incense and oils. I'm going to mainly discuss incense, because I know throughout the week there will be other things brought up about other things, so I'm just going to stick with my incense. And I might even include one of my incense recipes at the end of the video, so make sure you watch me all the way through. Now, what is incense? Well, incense comes in many different forms. It comes in cone, it comes in stick, it comes in loose, and it comes in powder. The stick incense, you can find many different brands of stick incense, along with cone incense. HEM, Kamini, I think that's how it's pronounced. Those are just two that popped off the top of my head. Cone incenses are usually the same. They usually come from the same brand. Powders, they also come in like little round containers. And they're usually already powdered in powder form, obviously, powder incense. But you can also take your dried herbs that you would have in your collection if you want to make your own incense. You can use those herbs and put them into a coffee grinder and grind them up really fine and make your own powder incense. I really like cone incense. I prefer cone incense over, if I was to buy it, I prefer cone incense. Now if I make it, I like to do just straight herb. I don't really grind them up too much. I have a couple of times, but the ones I kind of prefer to make are just a loose incense blend. And you can also make a loose incense blend and turn it into cones by just adding a little bit of water. Very little bit of water. And then forming them into cones on your hand, or little briquettes, kind of sort of, maybe not that quite that long, but maybe like that. And you can also burn them on a charcoal disc. Ha, yes. Now, with stick incense and the cone incense that you can buy, those are already, they already have the chemical, I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but they actually already have the chemical in them, so it lets them to continuously burn while they're burning. To do that with cone incense, I use saltpeter and I add that into my incense, and activated charcoal. That helps too. Crushed up activated charcoal. And those will help your incense to continuously burn to where you don't have to use a charcoal disc. For most powder incenses and for most loose incenses, you will need to burn them on a charcoal disc. And if you don't know how to burn a charcoal disc, it's quite easy. They're about this large. They've got two sizes, I think 30 millimeter and 40 millimeter. Either one is fine. They actually also have little square ones, like little cubes. I, myself, don't really like the little square ones, but I like the round 30 or 40 millimeter ones that you can buy in the little round tubes. Not tubes, but foil wrappings. So, what is incense good for? Well, incense is a representation of air, and you can use incense to cleanse. You can use incense for purification. You can use incense for clearing. You can use incense for charging, and did I say cleansing? And cleansing, like your stones and anything that you would get when you go to include them in with your magical workings. You can pass the item through the smoke of the incense to represent air, to represent the air element. I'm sorry, I cannot talk today. Also, those great big huge sage bundles, that's also considered incense. I consider it incense because it gives the same effect with the smoke, and that's what you would use to like sage your house and stuff like that. So it's the smoke that comes from the incense is what does the purifying and the cleansing and all that stuff. So and burning incense has been around for thousands of years, and I'm pretty sure almost every religion uses some sort of incense. I know Catholics use incense. They usually have them in, I don't know the name of this thing, but it's usually in a like a container at the bottom, and it has chains that come up and they hold them and they swing it back and forth. I can't think of the name of what it's called. If you know, let me know, and then it'll be like, yeah, that was it. But so that's what I use incense for. So now I'm going to, when you see me again, I will actually do an incense, one of my incense blends for you. So yeah. Alright guys, so this is going to be my, sorry, I'm walking around. This is going to be my incense blend that I'm going to show you. Hi! Okay, so I've got all the ingredients out because I actually needed to make this one, so I'll just do it in the process that I normally do. The ingredients you're going to need are lavender, red rose petals and buds, passion flower. In here, this is my cauldron. This is my small cauldron. My big one would be just too big for here. So this is my small cauldron. In here I have one of those charcoal discs I was telling you about. This is the bowl that I mix it all up in, and every time I make an incense blend, I always use some sort of a stone that has been charged and cleansed. And for this in particular one, this one has been charged by the full moon, our last full moon. And so anything that, it's just whatever you wish, actually, whatever you want to use, you can put any type of stone, whatever corresponds to the incense that you're making. Like if I was making my Isis incense blend, I would actually probably use a desert rose, and then I would have it, you know, charged, cleansed, and all that good stuff. But today I'm using an amethyst, and I leave that in the bowl. Lighter, obviously, to light my charcoal disc. Over here I have, this is rose fragrance oil. You can use essential oil as well. It's just a little pricey for my taste, so I tend to go with one that smells very much like rose. Not the like perfumey type. This one is a good blend. And then a little pipette. My mortar and pestle. In here I have a small mixture of copal and dragon's blood, and I just sifted through and found all my small pieces, and then those will get dumped in there and I'll crush them up. And I don't know if I said this, did I say jasmine? Jasmine. And then back here, this isn't labeled, I need to label it, but I know what it is. This is my moon water. And all I do for my moon water is I'll buy a gallon jug of distilled water, and then at full moon, because I go through a lot of water because I use moon water in a lot of things, incense, bath crystals, cleansing baths for myself and for my family. I'll use moon water. I use moon water a lot, so I find it easier for me to get the gallon jug, and then on the full moon I just set the entire gallon jug outside, and then I go through that gallon within about a month, so that works out pretty good for me. But this is moon water, and I will tell you at the end what I used my moon water for. So, to begin with, I always start out by lighting my charcoal disc. And then hopefully by the time that I finish showing you this incense, this will be somewhat ready to go. See how it sparkles? That's how you know that it's working. You just stick it down in there. A lot of people like to use one of those tong looking thingies, but I don't. I just use my finger. So you're right above here, so you might get a little smoky. No, you look good. Okay. So the next thing I like to do is I start out with, excuse me, I'm sorry, frog in my throat, you know how it is. I am going to choose to start out with let's start out with lavender. I'll dump that in there. And depending on how much you want to make of this, let me scoot this back a little bit so I can get in camera here. Depending on how much you want to make my recipes, I have a starting out point, but then depending on how much I want to make, I will change that up. So since this is going to be a little bit smaller batch, then I'm just going to use the scoop. So I'll take 1 full scoop of lavender, and I'll put it right in over top of the amethyst. I will close it up. And I'll put my intent into it. I usually make this incense for love, passion, romance. So it's basically a love incense. It's actually my enchanting rose love incense. I do not sell this on my shop, so that's kind of the reason why I'm putting it on here. I apologize for me doing that. So then the next one I like to use is my roses, and these I just purchase. What I like to do with these is I do 2 scoops of these. I'll put that in over top. And then what I like to do with these is while I'm putting my intent into them, I actually like to crush these up with my fingers. And then it also helps release some of the fragrance and oils that are in the lavender and the rose to mix. I like to keep my incenses fairly loose. If I find any big chunks while I'm doing this, I pull them out usually, because for me, I don't really care for the smell of them when I don't grind them up. So I will pull out these bigger pieces like that. I'll pull those out. Now if you actually grind yours up, then pulling the bigger pieces out won't be necessary, because the grinder does all that work for you. But since I'm not using my grinder, I will pull them out. And like I said, I will put my intent into it while I'm doing this. So if I get quiet, that's why. Oops. Alrighty. Usually when I do a bigger batch, this part takes the longest. So there it is so far. The next one I like to use is jasmine. And I will do, for today's purposes, I'm going to do about 3/4 of one of these little scoops. And then I will crunch these up too while I'm doing my intent. Oh, that didn't come out. Okay, I'm going to put these off to the side so I don't get them confused with what I've already got going on. Then I like to use passion flower, and I use about half a scoop of passion flower. And the same. Okay. Then I will take my copal and my dragon's blood and I will crunch it up. It was already started, so I won't have to do too much crunching. And then I'll add that in there. Pull these out of the way. Then Intent and Mixy Mixy. Okay, and then I will take my rose oil or essential oil, whichever one you have. And with this small amount, I'll probably do maybe just a couple of drops. I won't do much. Alright, I did 5 drops for this one. And then Mixy Mixy. And Intent, of course. Alright, and then what you have, let me pull these down here out of the way. Then what you have is this blend. So that is my Enchanting Rose Loose Incense blend. And then to demonstrate, you just take a little pinch and you drop it right onto your charcoal disc. Voila! And it smells divine. So now from here, if I wanted to go ahead and try to turn these, well, not try to, but if I wanted to go ahead and turn this into a cone incense or a brick incense, you would just take your water, any type of water, like I said. You don't have to use moon water, you can use any type of water. For my incense blend, I actually have pyramid water that I use. You can use moon water. If you want to try to do something for, say, a curse or something, or a very any type of strong spell, you can use thunder water. You can use snow water for like a Yule incense. You can use snow water. So any type of water can be used for this purpose, to turn loose incense or powder incense into a cone or a brick incense. Yeah. So all you would have to do is, I'm not going to turn this one into cones because I like this one to be left just the way it is. But you would take this and you would spritzy, 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 spritzy until it can like form a ball in your hand and actually stick together. And then the way I learned how to do it was from another member of Witches of the Moon, Miss Tequila, on Saturdays. I actually learned this technique from her. You would put the water in here until it gets to the consistency that you like, to where it will stick together. The amount of water will actually depend on how big your batch is. So then you would just spritz it down until it forms, and then you put it in the palm of your hand and just go like this with it until it forms a cone. and then you can stick it on. I put mine on wax paper, but if you have like a cookie cooling tray or something that's got lines or ventilation up underneath it, then that would be good too, because they'll dry a little bit faster. But I use wax paper, and I'll make them and then I'll stick them on my wax paper and just let them sit to dry. So yeah, that is my Enchanting Rose incense. Alright guys, so you got to see my incense blend that I did. I just wanted to also say that I want to thank each and every one of you that have been signing up for the giveaway. You still have a few more days to do it. I will close the giveaway on April 4th. And just a recap, make sure that you are subscribed to all of us, because if your name, or you, are not subscribed to all 14 of us, plus Witches of the Moon, your name will not be included on the list that will go into random.org. So, on the day that I draw, if you do not see your name, that is because you have not subscribed to us. We are aware that there are some of you that have your settings set to private, so we will try and contact you, I guess, if we see that a bunch of us are not subscribed. If you're not subscribed to a bunch of us, I will try and get in contact with you maybe to see. But if your profile is set to private and it does not show up, then I'm sorry. But thank you for everybody that is signing up, and this is going to be one awesome giveaway this year. So thank you, and until next week, blessed be.